Well, here we are on our overhaul here on our lawnmower, on our 2gr-fe, I mean. And basically it's calling out to inspect the camshaft on V-blocks for runout using a dial indicator. And the max in American is 0.00157. So that's basically 1.5 thousandths is max. So we've got that set up here, kind of like you see in the picture. And here's what that really looks like. So the purpose of the V-blocks, they're going to let the cam journal surfaces lay in the V on both sides. You had to pull the cam gear off. And then as we set up the dial indicator, we want to make sure it's nice and tight. Take the slack out of the snake and then set it on. We're not trying to measure the cam lobes. We're trying to measure the cam journal where it rides in the head. And we're going to basically spin the camshaft and we're going to see how much it changes. So we get the focus right. I actually just bumped the V-block. That was my fault. So I see about 1 thousandth, 1.5 thousandths actually. We are right in spec. Maybe just under 1.5. And so I've just been spinning it like this the whole time. So here's what that says. If this camshaft was bent or warped, if you picture it, it would go up and down a lot in the middle. That would tell you that this cam was bent or warped. If the cam is bent or warped, what it may or may not really say, is it does actually say it. If the runout's greater than maximum, replace the camshaft. So this is one of the ways you'd qualify the cam. Additionally, we're looking at it for any scoring, marks on the friction surfaces that are excessive. And so we're basically verifying that this camshaft is good. You could measure any shaft like this. If it's a crankshaft, we're going to do the same thing. A lot of different things can be measured with the same technique. So it's also going to have us measure the cam lobes. And so I won't show you step by step how to do that, but it's calling for the standard cam lobe height on the intake to be, we'll go in inches again, 1.7448. So we would find if this is the intake or the exhaust, and we would measure literally the diameter. I'm going to turn it just a little. We literally measure the diameter of this lobe right here. And so it should be between 1.7448 to 1.7486, assuming this is the intake. You'll do the same process for the exhaust, and you'll notice the exhaust camshaft has different numbers. So what that's trying to do is tell you if this camshaft lobe is worn down. If that number was too low, it would mean this cam lobe is worn down. It would mean this camshaft wouldn't actuate the valve quite as far, and it wouldn't really run right. I've even seen sometimes they're worn down almost to like the base circle of the cam, so it spins and it never actually actuates the valve hardly at all, and it'll be a full-on misfire. And so these are the main steps of the cam inspection from the factory. If you want to go crazy, we could measure the not only the lift, but we could actually use a dial indicator and pop it over here and put a degree wheel right here. Matter of fact, I'll do it just for fun. I'm just going to force it over here. And we would kind of like put it on the base circle. The base circle we'd set to 0. Now, I don't have all the tools to do it, but if we're at 0 on the base circle, which is opposite the lobe, by the time I turn it around and lift it, we can see how high it goes up. This one went up way over an inch. Or actually, this is 100 thousandths, so we'd have to count it up. From 0, that would be 100, 200, about 265 thousandths. And so that would be how aggressive or how much lift the cam is. Then we would also measure, if this was a performance shop, we would also measure from the second it starts to lift which was, see, it just started to lift right there, right there. We would mark this in degrees, and we'd see how long it takes before it drops back down to the base number, to the base circle, which would be right there. I'll back up, right there. So we would actually measure how many degrees it was lifted off the base circle, and that would be the camshaft duration. So it's just kind of stuff to know. We wouldn't really do that on a factory overhaul job, but if you wanted to know about the cam's lift and duration, this is how you do it. So I hope that helps.